Alright, what's up guys, Fuffin here, and we are coming up to the patch 1022 rundown. So, I am very excited for this because, as some of you may know from watching my last video, I have not been very happy with the current meta of both Sharpshooter and Divine. I did not play a lot, and when I did play, I ended up losing a lot, so it very discouraged me. So we'll just get into it. So, Dazzler buff, Vayne buff, Vi buff, Evelyn buff, Nunu, Ezreal set, and Rabadons, Ronons, and Shiv. So, I have looked at the numbers on the Shiv buff at least, and that's something that I'm just going to talk about when we get to it, but nerfs on Ninja and Sharpshooter, and Akali, Ahri, Lee Sin, Ludens, and Zeke's. Lilia, Lissandra adjusted. So, new systems is players will now take 1 damage minimum. If you didn't know, if you had Galio or ZZ Rot Portal active as the last thing in, I believe, like the first stage, it might have also been the second stage, or like the first combat stage, so second and third stage, you actually wouldn't take damage. You would just lose the fight, and you could lose in theory. You could lose 5 times against cultist players with only Galio remaining, and you could have a 5 loss streak with 100 health in theory. But now they've made a minimum for it. Chosen roll chances are displayed in the tooltip, so that's pretty good. You just highlight the chosen indicator and you get to see the chances. So, you know, there's a couple of traits that have unintentional anti-synergy with chosen mechanic. Okay. So, Cultist Chosen is now counting as 2. So, this was something that I was really upset about when they changed Cultist. And I don't know if counting it as 2 units is too much. Because you think about the fact that you can get like Cultist Aatrox, and you're getting a ridiculous, buff to the Galio. In theory. I guess we'll see. I was advocating for counting as 1.5 instead of 2, but this is fine. For now. We'll see. Keeper Chosen will now count as 2 Keeper and grant double the bonus amount of shields. They really want Keeper to be good. That's, I guess, all I'm going to say about that. The only thing I think here is, like, Riven and, like, an early Kennen. That's about it. 4 Keeper early is going to be probably the most insane opening. It's pretty good right now, but, Dazzler attack damage reduction is going up at its 2nd level. And the duration is going down to 8 seconds from 15 and up. 5 to 8. So, this Dazzler was a very awkward trait because the 50% was like, whatever. But, the duration was the big thing. And, I mean, 15 seconds is, I think, like half the fight. So, I think the 8 seconds is good. Overall, I think this is a fine change, but my only fear is that, like, Warwick comes back as a comp. Now, I play a lot of Talon, so I do enjoy playing Dazzler in my comps, but I don't know. Maybe this is a good thing because it makes Dazzler Chosen actually viable for comps. Anyway, Ninja attack damage is going down at 4. This is fine. I think ninjas didn't need a lot of the power, and I feel like Akali is still going to be crazy. But like I've talked about forever, if you ever face assassin players, just play Riven and build a Bramble Vest. Bramble Vest Declaw, and they'll be able to do nothing. You can build Jeweled Gauntlet or Ionic Spark on Riven as a final item, and you'll be able to just easily 1v9. At least with like 4 Dusk. 6 Dusk definitely, but 4. Kind of what you need. So Sharpshooter's damage reduction, Ricochet, is going down. So It's going down at 6 and going up at 2. Right? So you get more damage at 2. So what this tells me is that Nidalee is going to be, like, the 2 sharpshooter opening is still going to be the best. Nidalee plus Vayne or Teemo. So be on the lookout for sharpshooters and keepers. At least for openings. So Fiora's Chosen is getting changed to mana reduction. This is good because she's an enlightened champion. Lysandra is gaining a new mechanic where she will target the highest attack damage thing. This was an issue with Dazzlers because they would, hit in targeting ways that weren't specific to their traits and stuff. So now Lysandra I should be able to do it. It's hard to say if the Lysandra comp is actually super viable because I've seen it played and I've played it myself. And it's really fun. Like, it is really, really, really fun. Like, when you do 13,000 damage with a Lysandra every round, it's crazy, but I can see some problems with this. Vayne, Silverbolt's true damage, going up. Again, watch out for Vayne. Vi's Chosen is going to mana reduction. So, I mean, this one's fine. I think that with the brawler traits and stuff, it's kind of redundant to have extra health. Because, I mean, once you have a Giant Slayer, it is pretty much not even useful anymore. And Vi's spell damage is going up at level 3. So, when I started playing set 4, I spammed Warlords, and I would get a ton of Vi 3s and Jarvan 3s in my games. And now that they're both useful, and that Warlord is actually getting play, I think that they can actually have some skin in the meta. And then Vi's Armor Shred is going up. Okay, so it's been a big debate for the entirety of set 4. What's better, 8 Brawler Ashe or 6 Elderwood and then X Brawler? And I think this just kind of makes the 8 Brawler version way better. Akali's getting a bonus mana lock. So this is, like, the way that you can think about this change is, like, for every 5 ultimates that Akali gets off, now she's going to have 4. So it's not, like, it's still significant. It just means that she's not going to be able to cut through your entire backline as quick. If you are playing Ashe, for example, and you are still stuck on, like, a Sejuani or a Set or whatever with a huge tank item, Akali's still going to kill your backline. I don't know what comp would play Akali or Set, but Akali and Set, but, in theory, if Ashe is getting stuck or your carry or whatever, you're still going to have those issues. Evelyn's ultimate damage is going up at level 3. This is good, because Evelyn 3 kind of sucked. Nunu and Willop consume damage, going up at level 3. So, I mean, more Elderwood buffs. Ahri damage, going down. I think this is most significant at level 2. I think Ahri is probably still fine at level 1. Ashe fixed a bug. Okay, so the way that this was explained was that Ashe basically would attack normally the first auto of her ultimate, and then, the first auto, like, she attacks 5 times every auto while her ultimate's active, in a way. And basically, it wouldn't apply, like, the first auto would be fine, but then the last 4 would not apply regular rules of how auto attacks work in TFT. So that means that, like, Jax would be able to dodge, or would not be able to dodge 4 of those autos, which means that Ashe's damage was 80% dealing damage to Jax while he was dodging, but it also wasn't allowing critical strikes. And it makes me wonder if now it's going to be able to use Shiv, because they made it very clear that they were not going to allow it to proc Shiv, but it may be possible that this triggered a bug, so I would suggest running a Shiv on Ashe and seeing if you trigger Shiv every 3 auto attacks. Or every, 2 auto attacks 4 times. So, Morgana updated her spell targeting to be slightly less random. So, basically, before it was completely random, and now it's completely random, but will prioritize more things grouped. So, if there's 2 random events, and the random event is 1 champion alone versus 1 champion with a champion next to it, it will always choose the champion with a champion next to it. So, it's still technically random, but it's not, in a way. It goes from, infinity random to, like, maybe 20%, 30% or something crazy. Actually, I think it'd be more toward 40 or 50. Because of the way champion grouping and stuff works. Because you typically don't have 3 groups. So I think this is borderline not even a random change. Unless it's the final few fights. Or fights in the round. So, Ezreal's starting mana is going up. Cool. Whatever. Ezreal is, kind of an iffy unit. And Lee Sin is getting nerfed. So Lee Sin, basically, if you didn't know this already, the way that TFT's endgame works is it's a lot of, so in TFT right now, most meta builds consist of about 7, like between 6 and 8 champions. So at the end of the game, if you happen to get level 9 or whatever, it's actually better to just put in legendary champions because the legendary champions in the set are crazy. For example, Set was overpowered as shit in the first patch. Then it moved to Kayn, because Kayn was strong in the first patch, but because Set was significantly stronger, he got overshadowed. Now, because Kayn got nerfed, it was Lee Sin. So, now that Lee Sin's nerfed, Set and Lilia might be stronger. Because they made Ezreal better, but Ezreal fundamentally is not a useful champion unless you get him to 3 stars. I would actually think that Azir... I personally prefer running Azir over most of the other meta picks right now. If you have itemized items like RFC, Shojin Blue Buff, run Lee Sin. But even now, I think that these stun durations are kind of high. I don't know exactly if his wind-up time is going to be faster, but it's hard to say. We'll see. Either Lee Sin is still going to be crazy, or he's going to be completely useless. And just by the fact that he's losing a half a second at level 2 and has lost his stun has been cut in half, I think it's firm to say that he's probably dead. Which is good in my book because it means that Divines aren't going to be coming back. But I guess that's all about that. So Lilia is getting her damage reduced, but also not. Because there were instances where Lilia's damage wouldn't get triggered. The things would just wake up because she wouldn't be doing enough damage. Because she doesn't do damage. So now, she's going to be doing more damage, and it's actually going to proc the damage. However, if I know her ability correctly, when this damage threshold is reached, the things wake up and are no longer stunned. I think that Lilia is kind of crazy for her stun. If I remember, she had some crazy numbers on it, and that's why the mage comps were doing good at the end of the game. Because they were falling off pretty hard, but then people were running Dusk and Lilia, so. Set Chosen bonus goes from health to spell power. This is also good. Again, if you're running 8 Brawler, gaining 400 health doesn't matter, but gaining 30% spell power does. And the damage of its primary target is going up. Actually, by a significant amount at level 2. I assume that's what that means. So level 2 Set is actually going to be really strong, and especially if you get him chosen. So they're trying to make level 9 a little bit more appealing, but. And then Nunu is getting a nerf here. Nunu and Willop will no longer eat Set if he still needs to do sit-ups. This was... I don't know if this was intended or not, but if you guys remember, I believe it was on the PBE. Nunu would actually eat Guardian Angel. So, in theory, a set could be eaten with Guardian Angel on, bypassing both Guardian Angel and Set's trait. So you would basically have a brawler frontliner, and that's it. So Nunu was pretty strong, and the fact that Nunu actually got buffed here at level 3 means that brawlers are just better. This I believe will actually make brawlers better than Elder would. But time will tell. Luden's Echo bonus damage goes to crowd-controlled targets. This is the opposite of the Shiv change. The Shiv change in the B patch, which if you don't know, I didn't cover it. But long story short, Shiv went from crowd-controlled / shielded to only shielded, and now Luden's is just crowd-controlled. I don't know about all this because, like, the Nami comp is surprisingly strong. The 6 Enlightened Nami comp has been making waves. I'm so sorry. But it's not like I don't know. It's not particularly fun to face, I think. And I think it's a very cheesy comp, and I've slowly progressed away from liking reroll comps. So, I mean, pretty much you build QSS and double Ludens, and you go 6 Enlightened, and it's just, you know, it's kind of not too fun to play against, but if you hit it, you hit it, I guess. So you have Rabadon's Death Cap spell power. I mean, Death Cap sucks because there was a change in set 3 to set 4 at the beginning of set 4 where they changed Death Cap from a % to a flat, and I think that Death Cap just sucks. It's not as versatile anymore. There's Jeweled Gauntlet IE is just a better combo. Like Jeweled Gauntlet gives you a decent chance of doing more damage than Death Cap, and the thing is, Death Cap isn't a versatile item anymore. So if you get stuck with 2 rods, you're fucked. If you didn't know this already, in set 3 and 3.5, if you had Cybernetics, and you had a Death Cap, you could actually place it on Irelia. And that's because Irelia, who had a ultimate similar to Talon, would, you know, dash to a target and deal damage based on their attack damage. But the thing was, you would build a, like, Infinity Edge on Irelia, right? If you built Death Cap, the numbers equaled out. So basically, you would just, you know, get something for that. But, like, I ran Triple Chalice in Talon, and you gain, like, a extremely low amount of AD. It's like 50 AD or something. And Triple Chalice was the equivalent of 3 Death Caps, I believe. No, that doesn't sound right. It was like a half a Death Cap or something. I don't remember the actual numbers because everything's changed in the last 2 patches. I believe it was 30, and now it's 40. So let's say half, because, you know, Death Cap right now is 45 or 75. So in, like, assuming Death Cap would be boosted up to 80, it's half. So with Triple Chalice, that's like a Death Cap and a half. That's like a Death Cap plus a rod. And the benefit from it was meager. And I think it's because of the scaling differences. Talon has a different scaling system than Irelia, because I remember Irelia's was very cut and dry, and Talon's is kind of convoluted. It's hard to say. If you want, build Death Cap on Talon, and you can see what I mean. But I advise against it. Runon's Hurricane Bolt damage is going up to 100%. This is what I call the bomb under the table, which is a term coined by like Alfred Hitchcock, I believe, where something is not overpowered right now, but it will be overpowered in the future. I believe that the Nami changes made real easy work for the Nami meta to come in. And I think that this could be really, really strong as a third item on Jhin. Especially because Last Whisper is coming back in the meta. So, it's kind of hard to say. But the other thing that I'm really worried about, and I'm going to make this statement right here, right now, is Zeke's ninjas with Zed carry. I believe Dasik popularized the comp. Maybe he made the comp. But they were already running Runons, and they did it because of the AD. And Zed has not been nerfed. And Shade is fine right now. So I think that people are going to stop playing ninjas, and that Shade Zed is going to be a very free comp. So if you're watching this, and if you made it this far in the video, which, you know, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, abuse that. Because in a few days, when people figure it the fuck out, you're not going to be able to use it anymore. Shiv damage at the first point is going up to 80, and then the second one is going to 240 from 175. So, I really, really like TFT, and I played years of League of Legends without liking it. And it really feels like the TFT dev team wants to make me play TFT and not like it. I'm sorry. I really don't want to be negative about things like this. But how are you looking at these numbers and being like, yeah, this is a good idea? Like, you are just asking for people to tear you in half again for, like, a divine meta. You know, so look out, because you could run divine with Dazzlers now instead of Adept, because Adept got changed, so we'll see. We'll see. This I guess makes Static Shiv possible to be used as a counter to Keepers, but I think it's just weird. It's a weird change, and it's a very niche change. And I could see problems if it punches through shields. Like, let's say someone has a 10 health shield. Instead of dealing, you know, 80 damage. Or, like, 80 plus the shield or whatever, like 90. Like, let's say that it completely... Like, let's say that the bonus damage only subtracts from the shield, which I don't think it does. If you have a shield, you're taking 90 damage. But if you don't have a shield, you're taking 80. But if it doesn't work like that, and you have a shield, you are taking 320. Like, flat. You have a 10 health shield, and you're taking an extra, you know, however much damage. 230 or whatever. So, I guess we'll see. We'll see. Shiv fixed a bug where it could target some invalid units. I mean, okay. I don't know why this isn't in the bug section. Zeke's Herald attack speed is going down. Okay, so the Zed thing is technically being hit, but I think Zeke's was like 30 before. And this just makes Zeke's not a super slammable item, and this hurts Sharpshooter, so it's fine. Zezerot Portal taunt duration going down. And apparently more things that should be in the bug section. You have a bug section. Fixed a bug where Construct had more AD and where you could access the initial taunt by equipping Zezerot mid-combat. So, this was something that I wasn't aware of, as I didn't really play this patch. But it's a weird change, because if you don't know already, you can actually place Trap Claw or Quicksilver Sash during combat, and it'll gain the duration. So you could have something jump onto, let's say, a Jinx, like, let's say, an Akali, and you could just give it a Trap Claw right before Jinx ults, and it'll stun the Jinx. So having this, maybe it was causing bugs or, like, bad interactions, but I'm kind of iffy on this one. I like the cheese of that stuff. I'm the kind of person who holds a Zephyr on their bench and waits until combat is about to start and then uses it. I think those interactions show very high skill expression for good players. But if it was causing game-breaking issues, I don't think it's the worst thing to be removed. Divine's damage reduction will no longer reduce true damage. Apparently, this is a Divine Mirror match change, so... Exile will no longer fail to create a shield. Okay, whatever. Talon will now run through the attack flow when attacking with his spell. So, I am an avid Talon player, as you may know. And the problem with this is that Talon needs a lot of swords. I find that my most success comes with, like... I mean, obviously 2+. You need GA plus Infinity Edge. But I personally like Deathblade a lot, and maybe Rageblade is a possibility, but I guess we'll see. That's really hard to say. Maybe a new Talon build will come out. Taunts will no longer persist if Taunter becomes untargetable. Apparently, this is a bug with Zed, and it would just force them to attack nothing. So. Cool. Anyway, I guess that's it. My thoughts on the patch are, I like that Sharpshooter's getting out. I like that Ahri's getting reduced. I don't like that the Luden's Nami build is still gonna be a thing. And I can see problems in the future for Shiv and Runons, especially if they want to make Keeper a thing. I mean, someone plays Shiv, and you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot with that one. Oh, and I also they didn't mention it here, but Ashe got her change, where it fixed that bug. I think that's gonna be really fun. I think there's a lot of brawlers stuff that's changing, and I think that is really going to be fun for all the brawler Ashe players out there. So, anyway, that's going to do it for this one. My name is Fuffin, and I hope you guys have a good one. Peace, peace.